The real criminal is Paul Kagame.
They exist because they have been denied their rights as citizens of that country. They are called Tutsis of Rwanda.
When you see the devastation caused across this continent by the many unnecessary wars, Sudan, DRC, all across the Sahel, all across the continent, we have actually lost more people.
In a bold and controversial statement, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has claimed that the M23 rebel group in the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, is fighting for their fundamental rights, which they have been denied for years. Kagame argues that the M23's actions are driven by their need for justice and the ability to exercise their rights freely, adding that the group has been subjected to mistreatment. According to Kagame, the rebels' grievances are valid and have been long ignored.
Well, those who accuse us, I would ask them why they actually don't support M23 themselves, including AFP, you as a journalist. Why don't you support M23? Or why is the question, you support M23 or you don't support M23? First of all, what is M23? M23 is an organization born in and out of Congo. That's number one. Number two, these are Congolese. And you will hear even Congo admit it. Now, why do they exist? Why are they fighting? Why do they have arms? Is another question. It is also a simple question. They exist because they have been denied their rights as citizens of that country. They are called Tutsis of Rwanda. Fine. But then you need to be educated also a little bit about history. We have Rwandan communities in Congo who are Congolese, and by the way, these are not just Tutsis, it is the same social structure of a country that is also there in Congo. Like, in fact, we have other neighboring countries where they are, but they are citizens of those countries. We have 100,000 people originating from this community, 100,000 who have been living here in Rwanda in refugee camps for the last 2 decades. Why? Because they are being uprooted from their ancestral homes, persecuted, and sent across. In fact, there are more in Uganda. There are 300, there's 100,000 here, there are hundreds of thousands there in Uganda, more numbers. So M23 is born out of that situation. That's why I asked the question. I said, well, why wouldn't anybody else, why are we being accused as Rwanda of supporting M23? And I'm saying even those who accuse us, actually I should accuse them of not supporting M23 because it is as if they agree with the injustice that is being done to this community. Otherwise, if you didn't agree with that injustice, you would be actually raising questions. why these people of M23 being treated like this? Why are we having 100,000 refugees here in Rwanda? That's where you would start from. Not start from asking Rwanda, are you supporting M23 or not? Are you still denying it? Because you are asking the wrong question. The issue is not whether anybody supports M23 or not. The issue is, what is actually the problem of M23? That's the question you should have asked, in fact. What is the problem? What is this thing called M23? Are they human beings? Are they this? Are they Rwandans? Are they Congolese? Are they that? Why? Why do they exist? Why do they even have arms and are fighting in their own country? This is the right question that I should be asked. So whether Rwanda supports or associated in any way is actually immaterial. It is relevant to the question. Or even you, if you want to educate yourself or educate the public, the question should have been simple. Ask me, by the way, what do you understand the M23 to be? What is it? That's a fair question. That's the one I would wish to be associated with rather than whether I support or not support.
According to Kagame, the rebels' grievances are varied and have been long ignored, with many M23 fighters and their families fleeing to Rwanda as refugees due to the poor treatment they have faced. The Rwandan president insists that their struggle is rooted in a desire for recognition and the right to live without discrimination. However, Kagame's recent remarks have sparked a new wave of controversy as he has shifted the blame onto the media, accusing them of unfairly portraying him as the cause of the ongoing conflict in the DRC. Speaking to reporters, Kagame insisted that he is not the aggressor in the crisis, claiming that the media has distorted his image and made him appear as the root cause of the violence in the region.
I mean, the judgment is out there, either for the people of this country or other people somewhere else. And it wouldn't just be confined to the press, because the press is full of individuals. But these individuals don't add up to a population that is as big as Rwanda's, even if Rwanda is very small. These are just individuals. 5 in France, 10 in America, 3 in China, 2 in Belgium, and so on and so forth. If you add all of them up, and they are even all negative and saying things about me, surely these can't be the people that are right and the rest wrong. But they only take advantage of the platform they have, they are able to command some voice that they put out there for people to, even people who don't know what you're talking. There are many people who even don't know about Kagame and get to know him by what a journalist has said, or one in the press has said. And in many cases, in my experience, some of them have started by hearing what the journalist said, and they ended up saying, but we've been told lies, when they come to know this through other means, either by direct contact or visit or whatever, and interaction with other people who know this person that has been talked about. They may say, this person told us lies. and consistently over many years has been telling us lies. What we saw, what we heard, whether it is this city, whether it is a person, whether it is this, they say no, but what we are being told is completely different from what we have seen or experienced. So, and of course there is a particularity with the Western press. The Western press, but you will find out there are things that were said about this country 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that are being repeated now, which means, according to them, nothing has changed. They talk about Rwanda, very poor population. We are poor. We are not where the developed countries are, for sure. But this poverty, the way it was in 1995, in 2000, is not the way it is today, is the same thing as we had 25 years ago. And keep just rubbing it in. You know, even the KAGAME and his looks and so on, I've been trying.
He further emphasized that he has always advocated for peace and stability, but that his actions and intentions have been misinterpreted. Despite these claims, KAGAME's past statements and actions complicate the situation. In several video recordings, he has been seen making harsh statements about the DRC, openly criticizing the country's leadership and even hinting at militant action.
For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are He keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess. So then you have the whole international community just confused. They talked about Rwanda, they talked about the Nairobi process. Honestly, even here, maybe you will help me understand what all this means. The processes became an end in themselves. And the people leading these processes became more important than the results of the processes. The Nairobi process became a Uhuru process. Then the Rwanda process, it's like you can't say anything that will displease President Lorenzo. definitely, this does not help deal with such a serious matters as we are faced with today. I know leaders when I see them. I also know idiots when I see them.
The real criminal is Paul Kagame.
So people tell us they want democracy everywhere. They encourage elections. The person who is causing problems in this situation I'm talking about between Rwanda and DRC has never, twice, been elected. And you know it. You know it. But this is why I was saying it doesn't matter evidence, it doesn't matter facts, it doesn't matter the claim. It's just what you think applies to you for that moment, for your benefit. The rest doesn't matter. This man, Tshisekedi, was never elected first. He didn't at all. And you know it. So I'm not telling anyone, only that you don't talk about it publicly, I'm talking about it publicly. That's the only difference. You know it. The second time, nothing happened, and you know it. Also understand us and understand the people you are dealing with. We are not this. Same old idiots you dealt with 50 years ago.
These comments have led many to question whether Kagame rhetoric and involvement in the conflict are more complex than his latest defense suggests. Some critics argue that his dismissive tone towards the DRC and his support for the M23 rebels could be fueling the unrest rather than helping to resolve it.
Does that mean that you're still prepared, as agreed, to meet Paul Kagame?
Mais j'ai toujours dit que je ne rencontrerai jamais
I've always said that I'd never meet the M23. Because, as I said, it's an empty shell, fabricated to justify the aggression against my country, the DRC.
Pour justement justifier l'agression contre mon pays, de la RDC, mais qu'en réalité, le vrai
But the real aggressor, the real criminal, is Paul Kagame. And I want to meet him, not to beg him or to negotiate anything with him. It's to ask him and tell him clearly, eye to eye, that he's a criminal, that enough is enough now and that his little game is known to everyone. It's enough what he's done to my country and my people, and it's time for him to leave the territory, the soil of my country.
Le territoire, le sol de mon pays.
The situation has garnered significant international attention, with many world leaders calling for a peaceful resolution. Former Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has been actively involved in diplomatic efforts to mediate peace talks, has spoken out on the issues, acknowledging Rwanda's role on the ongoing conflict. Kenyatta emphasized that the crisis in the DRC is not just a regional problem, but continent-wide issue that requires urgent actions from African leaders. He urged African nations to take collective responsibility in addressing the conflict and to work together to end the suffering of civilians caught in the crossfire.
What is important for us as Africans on the continent, and where should our resources go? And towards that end, to remember the amount of resource we waste killing each other. When you see the devastation caused across this continent by the many unnecessary wars, Sudan, DRC, all across the Sahel, all across the continent, we have actually lost more people to bullets fired by Africans on Africans than we actually lost to the coronavirus. And we have actually spent more buying those bullets to kill ourselves than we have actually spent on protecting our health and our societies. So an end to war and a collaboration towards putting an end to these conflicts and being able to repurpose our resources to where they shall have the greatest impact on our population shall remain the biggest and most critical agenda for the African continent. Let us be ready and let us be prepared. Let us be self-reliant by ensuring that we deal with the challenges that we have in order for us to be able to free resources for where they are most needed.
As tensions continue to escalate between Rwanda and DRC, the international community is calling for an immediate de-escalation of violence and a renewed focus on diplomatic solutions. The conflict has already led to countless deaths, displacement, and destabilization in the region, and with Kagame's latest statements, the potential for further conflict remains high. The world is watching closely, hoping that African leaders will step up and work together to bring lasting peace to the DRC and prevent further suffering for its people. The question remains, will dialogue and diplomacy be enough to resolve this deeply entrenched conflict, or will tensions continue to spiral out of control? And this is Stephen, GC News.